Welcome to Prep Recruiting Insider. We are here at NOLA Motorsports Park in Avondale, Louisiana, our new home this season, and we are excited to be here. We're not only going to tell you about the greatest high school football players in the country, especially this year, but we're going to tell you where the fastest cars are and the best place to drive them. It's right here at NOLA Motorsports Park in Avondale, Louisiana. I am Ro Brown, and we are in the midst of some of these fast cars here. We are also in the midst of the Prep Recruiting Insider, our man on the scene, Rene Nadeau. Nate, how you doing?
Glad to be here, and I guess you want to get off to a fast start, and there's no better place to get off to a fast start than NOLA Sports right here, and glad to be with you. Our second year of Prep Recruiting Insider, and wow, what a year we're going to have this year in recruiting and subsequent years, but I can't wait to get started.
Best year ever seen this far, perhaps, as far as recruiting?
This is a class for the ages. You know, you talk about the guys, how good they are this year around the state, and especially in the metro area. And I want to point out something real quick. Every year I do a study on NFL, how many guys come from the metro area to the NFL. Mm-hmm. And this year there were 45 kids who played, players who played in the metro area high school football on NFL rosters for training camp. 45, and there were 100 from around, a little over 100 around the state. So it's a lot of talent comes out of this area.
Okay, we're going to count this down, I think, kind of from the back. You want to start on the end. We got 25 terrific players. Let's start with the first guy from Walker Landry, and he is a big one. It is Alex Anderson.
Alex Anderson is 6'2", 290-pounder. He'll probably play offensive guard. He plays both sides of the ball for the Chargers. He can dominate, good pad level. He's a teammate of Corey Smith, who was at Arizona State. So right now, Arizona State is a team he's going to. So they're going to get a good one. He's Tulane and Utah State and Texas Tech also schools who wanted him badly. But Alex Anderson is going to Arizona State.
Guy walking around with a state championship ring, Rummel High School, Stephen Dunbar.
Stephen Dunbar is heading to Houston to play for the Cougars. 6'2", 185, runs under 4'6", about a 4'5'3". Big target. He'll run those crossing routes, soft hands, good routes, uses his body very well. And as you said, he was a major reason why the Raiders won the state title last year in 5A, and he's a good one.
And of course, John Curtis always has a stable of running backs, no different this year.
George Moreira, he's a guy 5'10", 208 right now, and he's got a lot of attention from Southern Miss, Tulane, Louisiana Tech, ULL, Houston. He runs bigger than his size. He's a little bit like a Chris Howard or Tevin Horton, who went to UL Monroe last year, but very physical, good blocker receiver, and he's got an extra gear in the open field.
Another Rummel Raider on this list, and we're talking about Dwayne Eugene.
He's headed to Arkansas, 6'1", 6 feet, 190, good hips, good instincts, runs downhill, good tackler. And Tulane, Southern Miss, Louisiana Tech, Arizona, and Mississippi State were hot on the Rummel safety. Dwayne Eugene pulled the trigger, playing for the Razorbacks, and I think that'll be a really good fit. Good looking at him right here. Comes downhill pretty good and plays the run very well.
A number of Car Cougars on this list, no doubt, and this is the first one.
Juwan Offray, he's a cornerback, 6 feet, 180, 4'5", 40, very athletic. He is going to Oklahoma State. Good in coverage, knows for the ball, comes up, he feels very well, and he's also a good center fielder in baseball.
St. Augustine High School has more than Leonard Fournette.
Courtney Garnett, he's a tackle, headed to Texas, 6'2", 285, 330 bench press. He's a good three-tech guy, powerful hands. Mississippi State, Texas A&M, Tulane, Oklahoma were all hot on him, but he pulled the trigger, and it's be a Longhorn.
This time it's a defensive player from the Rummel Raiders.
Andre Tolliver. He's going to be an Arkansas Razorback along with his teammate Eugene, and he's got good hips, super reach, good cover skills, good breaking the ball. He's a very good football IQ, and Andre Tolliver, he's going to be a good one. He committed to the Razorbacks back on July 20th.
The Destrehan High School Wildcat quarterback has already committed, and he is
Donovan Isom. Boy, he's a big one too, 6'4", 235. You gotta watch you don't grow into an H-back or something like that, but he can throw the ball. He's gone to Utah, and Brian Johnson, as you may recall, was a quarterback at Utah. He's the one that recruited him for the Utes, but he's a good drop-back passer. He's a leader. He's got some mobility, and he's very, very athletic, 6'4", 235 right now. He's a good athlete.
Showing the growth of the program, a guy from Lusher on this list.
Ian Williams, and out of Lusher, let me tell you something. He's a guy, he plays quarterback, but he'll be a wide receiver. And Tulane, Boise State, Utah, Louisiana Tech are hot on him right now, and he's going to be a good one. You see, this is his running skills. He's a quarterback here, but he will be a wide receiver on the next level. Very fast, 4.45. You know, he's got good hips and athletic skills, but he's got all the capabilities of being an outstanding wide receiver.
A Destrehan Wildcat on the defensive side of the ball who has already made his decision.
Tulane Green Wave, Raywan Marbley, and Raywan Marbley has really made some tremendous strides. He moved from the outside to the inside. He's got a great attitude. He was the 220-pound heavyweight wrestling champ last year. He's really come a long way. Terrific balance. He'll be great on special teams. He's about 6 feet, 215. He'll grow a little bit with the Wave.
Back to the Carr Cougars again with another guy on this list.
Joyon Williams, a Carr defensive end opposite Gerald Williams, 6'3", 255. He's headed to Oklahoma State. He plays in the shadow of Willis, but he's a good player in his own right and really does a good job with pressure from the quarterback.
Sticking with Carr, Anthony Jones, the tight end.
Anthony Jones, 6'5", 225, I'm sorry. He's going to ULL. He reminds me a little bit of Robert Royal, who played 12 years in the NFL. But Anthony is an outstanding basketball player, and he's just scratched the surface.
And then we move on down. John Curtis. We've got Terrence Alexander.
Terrence Alexander, Ole Miss may be in the catbird seat. Stanford, Arkansas, among others, Northwestern. Great football IQ, very good instincts, good ball skills. He also ran the 4x100 and 4x200 as a freshman. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes. Outstanding quarterback skills.
The big offensive tackle from St. Augustine, Joseph Paul.
Joseph Paul, 6'4", 335. He was a commitment to Florida. Not sure what it is right now, but Florida State, Tulane, Texas are all in the mix right now, but he's powerful. Bench presses 360 pounds. He dominates his opponent, and he's got good feet for his size. He'll be a good tackle wherever he goes.
And, of course, there is Jermaine Roberts. Mac Brown is grabbing another one from you.
Texas Longhorns, Jermaine Roberts, maybe the best cornerback in the state, 5'9", 175, 4.48, track background. He'll strike you, he'll play safety or cornerback, but he's got great skills and a good football IQ.
Well, that's a lot of football talent there, and it's just only part of the outstanding football talent here in the state of Louisiana. This is Prep Recruiting Insider. We're going to take a break right here. We are at NOLA Motorsports Park in Avondale, Louisiana. We'll be back with 1 through 10 after this. Welcome back to Prep Recruiting Insider. We are at NOLA Motorsports Park in Avondale, Louisiana. I'm here with the Prep Recruiting Insider, Rene Nadeau. Isn't this a terrific place?
Wow, this is unbelievable. I wish they had a place like this when I was a kid, you know, but I don't think they had gasoline engines when we were kids, bro.
It is a great place out here at NOLA Motorsports Park. Come on out, Avondale, Louisiana, just about 20 minutes or so away from downtown New Orleans. So let's continue our list, our countdown of local recruits, the final 10, and what a 10 it is. Let's go to the first one on the list, Donnie Alexander.
Donnie Alexander, going to LSU, 6'1", 205, 4.55 40. You know, he's a leader on a team of stars. He finds the ball very quickly, good closing speed, a collision tackler. He's going to be a good one. He'll grow up to maybe about 220, 225, but he's a good get for Coach Les Miles.
And John Curtis always seems to have tremendous defensive backs. We got one former defensive back right there off camera who was at John Curtis and Robbie Green, and they got another one, or a bunch of them, and this is one of them.
Matrell McGraw, I think he's got it narrowed down to Oregon, Florida State, UCLA. He's 6 feet, 183, a 4.5 40, tremendous ball skills. He could be a good safety, very physical, good break on the ball, good instincts. He is a game changer at that position, and whoever gets him is going to get a very polished player out of John Curtis' program, and boy, he's going to be a good one. He's been playing there for a long time and seen it all. When you play at Curtis, you play a lot of games every year and get a lot of experience.
Anybody need a nice running back? Coach Corey Lambert at Arrowhead has one, and Darrell Williams.
Darrell Williams, 6 feet, 203, 4.55. Georgia may be have the inside track. Auburn, Houston, Nebraska, Florida, and Missouri really like him. He's got yards after contact. He's got good hands, good blocker. He played safety, quarterback, outside linebacker last year. On a losing team, he had 905 yards, 13 touchdowns in 2012. It'll be a different story for the area Patriots this year.
Covington High School, they have a pretty good tradition of defensive players, and they've got one now.
Jerome McDowell, 6'1", 268. He was on a show last year. Wow, LSU may have the upper hand. Arkansas, Oklahoma, Ole Miss. He reminds me a little bit of a Glenn Dorsey. He's got a great great step off the line, but he played tight as a freshman. He's got good hands, good skills. He can play a 305 technique. He can add about 30 pounds right now. He's 268. He'll be around 300 pounds, but he is 325 bench, 535 squat, and he is a hot motor.
Duke Riley and Eric Smith have moved on to college at John Curtis, but they still got a terrific linebacker, and everyone knew he would be Kenny Young.
Arguably, he may be the best linebacker to come out of Curtis. You know, potentially he could be 6'2", 220. And they've had some great linebackers. LSU, Florida State, Miami, Michigan, and Oklahoma are hot on him right now. And he locates the ball very good. Good open field tackler. Reminds me a lot of Kevin Minter last year at LSU, the way he squares up and tackles. But he's going to be a good one. He'll chase you down, and he's the ringleader of that Curtis defense.
A chip off the old block, as we might say, a huge chip off the old block, and William Clapp, Brother Martin.
William Clapp, 6'5", he's 288 right now. He'll add about 30 pounds. He is committed to the LSU Tigers, much like his dad, Tommy Clapp. He finishes his blocks. He wants to dominate. He may move inside. He wears number 74. He may move inside to guard. Great technique, good knee bend. He pancakes blocks, and he's got a good punch. He's good in pass blocking, and you know, he's got a good knee bend. He's going to be an outstanding player, good technique.
Back to the Carr Cougars, that guy, Gerald Willis, outstanding defensive end.
6'3", 275, his brother Landon Collins already has a national championship ring of the Alabama Crimson Tide. LSU, Florida, Texas A&M are right now at the top. Alabama and USC are also in the mix. He chases down, he's a 110% guy. He had 2 interceptions last year. He wants to double that to 4. He wants to get 4 quarterback sacks per game. Wow, he's got a hot motor, and you got to know where he is at all times.
He's tall, he's smooth, he's athletic, and that is Malachi Dupree.
Malachi Dupree, he was MVP in the track meet last year, winning 3 events. He high jumped 6'8", has a vertical of 42 inches. He's 6'3", 190. Really, look at the way he goes up and gets this ball, gets at the highest point. He is the best athlete playing wide receiver in the country. He can be an outstanding player. He's only scratched the surface. You know, Curtis doesn't throw the ball a whole lot. They throw a ball as much as snows in New Orleans, but he's also an excellent basketball player, but he wants to run track on the next level as well as play football.
And maybe the best athlete playing quarterback in the country is our next guy, and that's Speedy Norman.
Devontae Speedy Noel, he's 5'11", 180, 4'3". He reminds me of somebody we're going to talk to in a little bit, Skyler Green. He has a 23-inch long jump. He's never satisfied as a gym rat. LSU, Texas A&M are right now in the mix along with Florida and USC. He's got tremendous explosion out of his cuts. He is a game changer. He was the reason that the Carr Cougars won the state championship last year. He's got a little bit big. He's very, very smooth. He's got great hands, and he works very, very hard. He's a human highlight film.
And by most accounts, he is the #1 player in the country, the #1 recruit in the country this year, and people said he would be. They said that a long time ago. Leonard Fournette, St. Augustine High School.
Leonard Fournette, he runs angry like Adrian Peterson or old school Walter Payton. He's got a lot of explosion like a Herschel Walker. Look at the way he pulls away from defensive backs. You're looking at a guy at 6'1", 228. He ran a 4.39 40 at St. Augustine. If he hit his druthers, he would play linebacker. He's very, very tough. Outstanding individual, 12 yards per carry last year against defenses that were stacked to stop him. He's done it throughout since his freshman year at St. Augustine. You see him wear number 5, cuts on a dime, plays like a smaller back, good hands, and again, he loves to block, and he's a team player.
Just looking at this 25-player list, and then this 25-player list here, what stands out? What makes it different maybe from previous years?
The level of skill, the level of skill and skill positions. You got guys that are not just good, but great. If you take players from previous years' row and you put them, guys who may be number 1, 2, or 3 in the metro area of the state, you put them on this list, they may be like 10 or 12. That's how deep and talented this group is in a metro area and around the state.
He's Rene Nadeau, our recruiting insider, and I am Ro Brown. We are at NOLA Motorsports Park in Avondale, Louisiana, our new home, and we're happy to be here. We're going to take a break right here, and when we come back, we're going to talk to one of our tremendous local high school football coaches here, a guy who does an outstanding job. Been there, I can't believe 10 years it's been since he's been there, Willie Brooks and Helen Cox, and he'll have a couple of his players along with him. We'll be right back with more after this. Welcome back to Prep Recruiting Insider. I'm Ro Brown. With me is the Prep Recruiting Insider, Rene Nadeau, and we are at NOLA Motorsports Park in Avondale, Louisiana. A terrific place. You need to come on out here and see it. We're at a motorsports park, but we're talking high school football recruiting, and we've got a couple people here, Rene, who I know you know very well. At least I know the old person down on the end. I know him very well. You know, Willie Brooks, the head coach at Helen Cox of the Cougars. It's the first time I've met his player there, Rene. So, introduce us to this kind of huge young man.
Justin Moore. You know, Justin is a guy that's getting a lot of looks right now. He's a senior, 4-year starter for Coach Brooks at Helen Cox, and 6'2", 310, getting looks at Tulane and Louisiana Tech, ULL, UL Monroe. First of all, Justin, what, as the process goes along, what are you looking for in a school before you decide, to sign the paperwork?
Just looking for a great offense and something I could build around. And I'm looking for teamwork. And my coach said teamwork makes the dream work, so I'm kind of looking for it in coaches and recruiting process.
You know, Ro, you and I know Coach Brooks pretty well. Has been around 23 years coaching profession, as you said, 10 years at Helen Cox, and does a great job. He's learned from some great coaches. Yep. Played under Don Watney, also played under Coach Z at De La Salle, and was a former linebacker at De La Salle Northwestern. And
a Cavalier.
He's done a great job.
Yeah, 10 years you've been there. You know, your last couple of years have not been typical of what you've had there at Cox, Coach Brooks, but how are things going? And tell us something about this young man.
Well, Justin is a 4-year starter, like Rene said. Very intelligent young man, come from a good family, good home. We've been fortunate enough to have him in our program for the last several years. 3-point student, 24 on the ACT. That's the thing I'm most proud of out of Justin. I think the sky's the limits for him, Ro. Because I think his potential is all out in front of him. We're going to definitely need a big year from him this year.
And he had a rough year last year, Ro, you remember, and a lot of injuries. Willie, why is 2013, why might that be a special year for Helen Cox?
Well, I take a different approach, Rene. I'm not really big on JV. If guys are good enough to play in our program early, we're going to play them early. You know, we've had guys like Eldridge Washington and this gentleman sitting right beside us, people like that, Royce LaFrance, those guys coming in and play early within our program. So I believe we take our lumps early, but I'm looking forward to this year because we have a lot of experience back. We have guys who probably went through the fire the last 2 years and didn't know what it looks like now. So we're hoping that we stay healthy and we can have a good year.
Justin, it seems that, Coach mentioned a couple guys, who are at Tulane, like Royce and Eldrick. It looks like Cox is, they're pretty much getting a tradition of linemen. Right. You hoping to carry on that tradition?
Yeah, I'm hoping to carry on and probably following some footsteps of them, like Royce LaFrance and Eldridge Washington.
You talk to those guys a lot?
Yeah, I talk to them a lot.
What kind of things they tell you, getting you ready for this?
Kind of tell me, like, just keep doing my thing on the field, be a leader out there on the field, and great things will happen to me.
Will you go from 4A to 5A? Is that a big jump, and how does that affect the way you do things?
Well, no, not for me. If you look at the way I've scheduled the last several years, we probably had the toughest schedule in the state of Louisiana, according to guys like, experts around. They ask me, Coach, why you play such a tough schedule? I've learned that from Don Watney. That's the only way you learn to get better. You play tough schedules. Sometimes it works out for you, sometimes it didn't. And like Rose said, last 2 years we've been kind of hit by the injury bug. And, this year is no different. I think with us in Jefferson Parish, I think it's good for the parish, first of all, because our parish has been so divided up over the last several years. You got West Jefferson in the Catholic League, you got Higgins and Eric playing in the river parishes, you got us on the Bayou and all these parishes. I just think that we need to form relationships, develop rivalries within our parish. And for the first time in our history of our program, we got 9 Friday games. So we get an opportunity to play against rivalry, natural rivalries, with cousins and brothers, aunts and uncles. Went to Helen Cox, went to West Jeff, Eric and Higgins. So we're excited about it in our program.
You kind of touched on what I was going to mention, and Justin, I'd like you to jump in and talk about this too, the importance of it's 8-5A now, and it's got you guys, Higgins, Eric, West Jeff, I think Chalmette is in it, they're down in the parish. But anyway, the point that you've got all these schools that are kind of close to each other for the most part. Neighborhood stuff. Talk to us about how important that is for you guys. I want both of you to address that.
For me, it's very important. I mean, Coach Scott and I we're real close. Marcus Scott does a great job over at West Jeff. Also, with Coach Billy Norton, now Corey Lambert. We've been trying to get together for several years to play, and through the good Lord and hurricanes and all those things, we were unable to play. And Coach Wayne Meyer and I have a great relationship. Been knowing him since my days back at Carr, and I just think that it's a natural thing for all of us to start playing each other. And Coach Reggie Rogers, which is one of my former assistants, I'm very proud of. We talk every day and, teacher, students. So hopefully, looking forward to that, playing against Bonneville. He's my guy, but that Friday night, we're going to have to show him.
In the last minute or so, Coach, something we talked about, 45 kids out of the New Orleans area playing on NFL rosters. Why is there so much talent come out of this area?
I think this area has been overlooked for several reasons. Number one, I think because of the fact that we don't have the financial resources of states like maybe Texas and all these other Californias and Floridas, but we have phenomenal athletes down here. We just mentioned a few in my years of coaching. Got a gentleman that's about to come on your show right now, Skyler Green. I remember him. He was good. Also, guys like Robbie Green, people that have played here that went on and been successful, not only in the NFL, but in college also. I think right now, this is a great time for our area to get a spotlight on us. And thanks to you guys, people are starting to get the word out.
Justin, what do you want to major in, wherever you go?
Wherever I go, I want to major in mass communications.
Oh.
Sports broadcasting.
Wow. Well, we'll be out of the job, bro.
I can leave. You can take over, Justin. I can leave. You can finish the rest of the show, man. That'd be fine with me. Good to have you guys here. We're not finished with the guys from Helen Cox. We got some others coming in the next segment. Coach Willie Brooks, thanks a lot. Good luck to you this year. 10 years. I still can't believe
10 years go by quick.
It went by quickly. Fine offensive tackle, Justin Moore. Justin, thank you for being here with us. All right, this is Prep Recruiting Insider from NOLA Motor Sports Park here in Avondale, Louisiana. Our new home. It's fresh and it's clean, and we like being here. We're going to be back with a couple more guys from Cox. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back to Prep Recruiting Insider. We are at NOLA Motor Sports Park in Avondale, Louisiana. Our new home for this year. We'll be here for each and every show this year. It's a terrific place in Avondale, Louisiana, just 20 minutes from downtown. So if you're into motorsports, drive one of these little carts around the track out there, this is the place to be. With me as usual is Rene Nadeau, the Recruiting Insider, and we have a couple more guests with us from Helen Cox, the Cougars. Who are these guys?
So my immediate left is Jared Bacon, a senior cornerback out of Helen Cox for the Cougars. And all the way at the end of the table is Dion, the quarterback, junior quarterback for the Cougars. And glad to have you guys here. And Jared, I'm going to start with you a little bit. Talk a little bit about recruiting process. You got some great skills as a cornerback. First of all, you got the grades, 3.2 grade point average, 19 ACT. You're a 100 and 200 meter guy. Talk a little bit about right now Tulane, ULL, UL Monroe, Louisiana Tech, and McNeese and all are talking to you. What are you looking for in a school before you decide?
Well, right now I'm just looking for a great fit where I can go in, play as a freshman and just look for chemistry amongst the team.
And Dion, you're a junior right now, but the process has already gotten started. You have the Florida States and Mississippi States, and you've been to some camps and stuff like that. What's it been like you early in the process?
Well, it's been great getting out there early and starting early and seeing what college is really looking for in players. So I'm glad I started off early.
Dion, you're just a junior, but it seems like you've been playing quarterback so long at Helen Cox, you may have thrown passes to Javon Lawson. It seems like you've been playing so long because you started as a freshman. Talk about starting early like that and how tough it was for you then and how much you progressed.
Well, starting early, the game was extremely fast for me. So now that I look back, I've really learned a lot over these past 2 years, and now I can apply it to my game for this year, the upcoming season. So everything's easier for me this year. It feels everything's slower.
It looked pretty easy for you. That's freshman video of you we were looking at right there. It looked pretty easy for you there as a freshman to me. Jared, what about him? Talk about your teammate there on the other side of the ball. What is his strengths? What about him?
He's a great quarterback. Everything is his strength, his speed, power, his vision on the field. He's just a great quarterback to be throwing the ball to.
A little bit about Jared too is being a cornerback, you got good hips, transitions well out of your breaks and stuff. Is this something that's come naturally to you, or is a track background help you a little bit, or is it something you had to better work out?
Well, I think the track definitely helps me play DB, and I guess the skill is just natural.
Well, Dion, the thing that we talked a little bit about Jared is the fact that you have a 4.0 GPA, which is impressive, and allows you as a quarterback to see some things and check off. I know Coach Brooks allows you some checks and things like this, and that's got to make you feel good that he trusts you to make the calls on offense.
Yes, it really does help that the head coach of the team really trusts his quarterback, because if you don't trust your quarterback, then what you're going to do in the game situation starts. So I'm really happy that he really trusts me to make these decisions for the team.
Speaking of the team, it's been a tough 2 years for Helen Cox last 2 years. After the first 8 years, pretty much of winning teams, and lots of success on the field. Talk about how difficult it has been the last 2 years and why it will be different this year. Who wants to go first? Go on, Dion.
Well, the past 2 years has been extremely tough. First year as a freshman, freshman mistakes, and the sophomore year, I got hit with the injury bug along with a lot of my other teammates. But this year, we are extremely close as a team. Everybody treats each other like brothers. So I think we'll have each other back this year, and we'll go deep. I think we can go far.
Jared, how tough was it? Why will it be better?
It was definitely tough those 2 years, dealing with 2 injuries on my ankle the first and second year. But this year, we definitely have a lot more chemistry on both sides of the ball, way more camaraderie amongst the players, and we're just really looking forward to each team and taking it step, slow at first and then pick it up later on in the season.
Dion, you told me earlier when we were talking off camera that you like Michael Vick, and you have a lot of skills like him. The thing that kind of impresses me is watching you play is you have the ability to extend the play, and even though you're out of the pocket and you're turning a corner, as long as you're behind the line of scrimmage, the defense has to respect the fact that you can deliver the ball. I've seen you make some plays. Going to college, what have they told you? Are they looking at you as a quarterback, as an athlete, a DB, a wide receiver? What is it?
Well, some colleges may look at me as an athlete, but most colleges truly look at me as a quarterback. They want me to be in a spread system where I could thrive.
Looking at your teammate Justin, 24 on the ACT. You got 4.0 grade point averages here and 3.0 grade point averages between you two guys. Nice scores on your test scores. Why is this happening at Helen Cox? And why are you guys doing so well academically as well as athletically?
I think it's because the coaches really stress that we're student athletes, student first, athlete second, and they make sure that before we come to practice, we always have our work done in class.
What about Dion?
It's not only the coaches as well, but you have to look at the kids' parents. The parents really stress, you got to get it done. You have to get it done in the classroom as well. So.
Jared, talk a little bit about, the defense wins games, a lot of injuries last year. You even got some freshmen coming up and making some contributions to that defense. Why do you feel good stepping on the field in 2013 that last year, kind of limped through things with injuries? Why you feel much better that the defense can carry your own and win these games?
Well, it was at first I didn't really have a whole lot, info on the defense because I didn't play it last year. But this year, we have a lot of young guys who are really hungry, and that's what I really like about our D-line and our DBs. We're really just hungry for to keep our team in the season this year and make it further in the season.
Dion, you know, we talked a little bit with Coach Brooks in the last minute here. How has it helped you schedule-wise that you've played some pretty good teams the last couple of years, and now that you're in the 5A, you kind of prepared for it, aren't you?
We were prepared because over the past 2 seasons we have played extremely tough foes, one of which Edna Carr or Perry Walker, teams that primarily make the playoffs. So we are prepared for almost any challenge. So I think we'll be ready to step up this year.
Well, Dion Ray, quarterback, Jared Bacon, athlete, defensive back, probably could play just about anything, anywhere on the field. It is a pleasure to have you here on Prep Recruiting Insider, and you guys did a really good job. You know, and we're going to go to break because we're here at NOLA Motorsports Park, and you know, we're going to show some video. And I know you guys, you want me to talk to Coach to try and let you get on a couple of these.
Yes.
Would you like that?
Yes.
I don't know how much Coach would like that, but because I know you guys were itching to get out there. Good to have you guys here. This is Prep Recruiting Insider from NOLA Motorsports Park, and we'll be right back with more. Look at that. Look at that, Dion. That looks like you. Welcome back to Prep Recruiting Insider. We are at NOLA Motorsports Park in Avondale, Louisiana, a terrific place if you're into driving go-karts like the machines you see here behind us. They got a great track out there. It's a tremendous place, and this is our home all season long on Prep Recruiting Insider, and we are very, very happy to be here.
You got to get up to a fast start, and this is no better place to get off to a fast start than NOLA Motorsports, and this is great, you know. And this past week, I had a chance to visit with an interesting lady, April Justin, whose son Landon Collins is playing for the University of Alabama, and she's got a second son, Jared Willis, is on the way, very much in the recruiting process, and she's going to be involved in a seminar for ladies on September 7th at the Sheraton in Metairie. And for more information, we'll have all the information for you. And she's trying to get the moms, if you will. She calls it Mama Knows Best, and she's trying to educate the moms a little bit in the recruiting process because she feels like the ladies get pushed on the side. And I had a chance to chat with her a little bit, and she explained why she's doing this and how it could help ladies understand a little bit more about the recruiting process.
Well, what Mama Knows Best Summit is a panel of mothers who's been through the process of the recruiting. What it is awareness. Is awareness of, about the recruiting, the do's and the don'ts. It's how to get your kids exposure, because there's a lot of predators that say what they can do and really prey on, parents, and they don't execute. So we just want to make them aware, and also with the kids, let them know it starts in 9th grade to make sure they do the right thing in class, as well as performing outside of class. And just because you don't get a D1, a D2 scholarship, there's other divisions that they can go to actually get a higher learning education, because the main thing and the key is to leave a college with a degree.
Okay, it's Mama Knows Best Recruiting Summit. It is Saturday, September 7th, 10 a.m. at the Sheraton in Metairie. For more info, visit Mama Knows Best, all capital letters, .info. That's Mama Knows Best .info. Mama Knows Best. There's a lady who's had not one but 2 highly recruited sons, and has one right now. And so I guess you got to figure, she must know a little something about what's going on. She must have learned something at this point.
If you didn't know it first, you know it now. So yeah, it's interesting, and she's obviously learned some things the hard way and didn't understand the process, but she does now, and she's just trying to pass that information on, her experience on, to some other ladies, and make them a little wiser about what to expect as the recruiting process kind of gets underway.
It makes you wonder why someone hasn't thought about this before. Don't you think? I mean, when you think about it, you hear so many people after the fact saying that they didn't expect this, they didn't know it was going to be like this, and so it's kind of surprising to me that someone then said, well, look, why don't we do this for these parents?
Well, you know, it wouldn't have been you and I to think. It wouldn't have, somehow wouldn't have gone over well if Ru and I had come up with a Mama Knows Best deal. But it took a lady, I guess, and she's got some credibility, as you said, because of Landon and Joe. So it'll be interesting. She has some great speakers, too, that'll shed some light on and answer a lot of questions for the ladies.
I guess a lot of it, I keep going back to the academic part, but I'm surprised that a lot of parents don't know a lot about the academic side of recruiting. You know, that always kind of surprises me.
Well, you know, the thing is, too, and a lot of little things that people don't understand that, as you know, a scholarship is 1 year renewable. And all of a sudden you got to read the small print. I think the entrance fees is not included, too, so good to go to.
This is Prep Recruiting Insider at NOLA Motorsports Park. We'll be right back after this.
I'm definitely coming back on here.
Thanks for sticking with us here at Prep Recruiting Insider, from NOLA Motorsports Park here in Avondale, Louisiana. Our great new home here this year on Prep Recruiting Insider. Now, one of my favorite parts of the show, not only do I get to talk to Rene Nadeau, but we have our legend. We like to, and we have a lot of legends here. We have a lot of local legends, especially on the high school level, and this one was one of my favorites. Back in the early part of this century, I should say, one of the absolute best high school football players around here, and maybe one of the best of all time, was a guy at L.W. Higgins High School who went on to LSU and went on to have a professional career, is the always smiling Skyler, as I always call him, just Sky Green.
Appreciate it.
How you doing?
Doing good.
Good to have you here, man.
Thanks for having me.
First of all, the first thing I told him was, you look like you were in high school. Your stomach's gone. You know, look
I'm
at
doing
you.
personal training, working out a lot of high school guys, and down on Tulane and Carrollton at Velocity. Got a good group of guys working them out. Dynamic Performance, me and my partner guy working together on that. Just doing a lot of stuff, trying to give back to those guys, pointing them in the right direction. Giving them a mindset of how to become great football players, and not only great football players, great human beings.
You know, Skyler, you had a chance to see some of these guys, and you know, again, I echo. This has been one of my favorite people. Skyler knows how much I love him, man. I love keeping up with him.
Can't help it.
When you're going back to your recruiting process, coming out of Higgins, how was it for you? How many times did you change your mind? Was it always LSU? Did you go back and forth? Who was your favorite player? Tell us about him.
It was tough when I was getting ready to come out of school. I had tons of schools knocking at the door, coming to the school to visit with me.
Who were some of them?
Tennessee, LSU, Alabama, Ole Miss, USC, Nebraska at the time. You know, some of the top schools, Oklahoma State. Just, you know, a couple of them. But I did take 4 visits. I went to West Virginia was my first visit. Nebraska was another visit. Alabama was a visit, and then I went to LSU. I didn't take all 5. I did 4. But that process, it was a good process for me. Learning everything, how, you know, these guys do with the process as far as come and meet with your parents, let you know the ins and the outs of why they want to get you to their school, the things that they can offer you at their school. It's just it's a whole lot of things that goes into the recruiting stage. And for me, I think I changed my mind maybe twice. A lady by the name of Miss Wallace, she was like a second mom to me. She took me up under her wing from middle school all the way up through high school. She was a graduate of Alabama. I actually used to go up there for unofficial visits, a lot of unofficial visits. Got to see what that campus was like a lot of times, and went to football camps out there. So Alabama was like a top choice for me, but when it came down to it, those guys went on probation when I was getting ready to come out of high school.
So you changed twice. Once was maybe Alabama.
And
what was the other, if I might add?
Back to LSU.
Back to LSU.
Yeah.
So you changed twice. I got you. So it doesn't sound like it was that much of a stressful situation.
It wasn't. It was because of being that also that I had 2 cousins played at LSU, Jarvis and Howard Green. those guys are both Super Bowl champions now. You know, I looked at those guys and I wanted to go make a name for myself just like they did at our own in-state university.
You know, I remember we talked about this off the air. 465 yards, 19 carries at Higgins against East Jeff on a wet field, and you had a long touchdown call back. Tell us about that night. What do you recall? And Henry Rando wanted to hit you with a bat below the knees. What do you recall about that game, and what it could have been on a dry field?
I know it probably could have been extremely more better than that if it was a dry night. I think I probably could have had anywhere from 23. If I had 23 carries, I probably had 500-something yards. But I told Coach on that night, Coach Myers, I said, Coach, it's raining. You know, my spikes and my cleats were shaved down from walking on concrete so much to where I needed a new pair. And I told him, I said, Coach, is there any chance I can get any more screw-ins for this game? You know, and he was like, we'll see what I can find. So he got some more screw-ins, and they actually worked for me well out there on that wet field, and it just had the best game of my career in high school.
Two things I remember about your high school career from my standpoint. I can remember your senior year, you rushed for over 2,100 yards, and you did it in less than 200 carries.
Yeah.
That comes out to about 11 yards a carry or somewhere around there. And the other thing is, I always look at what I call player decorum. There are a lot of people can play, but I like to look at especially how people act on the sidelines of their team. That's why I kind of hang around there. I always remember seeing you in one game. You were the mark guy, and you were being cheap shotted all over the place. And you'd get up and you'd pat the guy on the back who gave you the cheap shot. How do you do that?
It's just a love for the game, you know. Never let their emotion affect your emotion in the game. I play the game to enjoy it. Always have chemistry with the guys that I'm out there playing with, making it fun, helping motivate each other, and always having your teammates back. But you know, it's just being out there with a group of guys that you've been around for so long, getting a chance to enjoy something y'all all enjoy together. It's no better sport, and the sportsmanship of just playing football. It doesn't matter how hard you get hit, or if you feel like a guy took a cheap shot on you, you just get up and get him in between that whistle on the next play.
Sky, how much fun was college football for you?
Extremely fun. It was probably some of the best days of my football career. There's a big play right here, the
September
Georgia catch.
20th, 2000.
The Georgia catch from that mark right here.
2003. And tell us a little bit about, it was supposed to be a pick play.
Yeah, I did run the wrong route. I did run the wrong route, but it was just the emotion of the game, and I thought I got kind of caught up in it, and that's something you can't teach. And when you get caught up in the emotions of things, and things just happen, you never know how it's going to happen, and it just falls that way.
And people don't realize that was a minute left in the game.
Yeah.
It was at the end of the game.
Yeah, and those guys were up on us. If I'm believing my mind serving me correctly, we were down, and the score was 13-10. We were down, and after that catch, we went up 17-10 to win the game.
Well, Sky, it is a pleasure to see you again, as always. You know, always
Thank you.
Enjoyed covering you all these years, and enjoyed knowing you. You've always been a class act, and glad to have you here on Prep Recruiting Insight.
Thank you guys for having me. I just said, Mrs. Nadeau always keeping me informed in these things. I do a lot of stuff with Mrs. Nadeau, and I appreciate him for these things.
All righty. We'll be right back with more on Prep Recruiting Insider from Nadeau Motorsports Park. Welcome back. We want to let you know where we are and what a place it is. Nadeau Motorsports Park. It's at 11075 Nicole Boulevard in Avondale, Louisiana. You see the phone number 504-302-4875. That's NOLA Motorsports Park. And we are in the kart shed here, and that's why you see, you know, all these karts behind us. It is a terrific place. It really is. The first time I've been here, and it's really impressive. Nice track, the whole works. Good food upstairs.
I got my wheels picked out. I'm ready to go.
Gotcha, yeah? Which
You know?
one? That looks like you over there, to tell you the truth. President Christian Angeron does an outstanding job here. I want to thank her for all her help in helping us get this show here and keep it here for this entire season. So I think, I had my doubts about you, Nadeau. I guess I'll come back for the remaining 24 shows now,
We'll try it again. See if we can do it better next time.
No, seriously, I loved it. I want to thank all our guests, Skyler Green, Willie Brooks, and the guys from Helen Cox. We'll see you next week right here on Prep Recruiting Insider.